Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely foundational to the world we live in right now, the convergence paradigm. We're going to look at how advanced multimedia isn't just about making things look pretty anymore. It has literally evolved into the engine that runs the global digital economy.
Have you ever wondered what makes a short video go incredibly viral? Or why a specific language app actually helps you learn faster? Or why that one game is just completely impossible to put down? Well, it's not magic, it's science. And in this explainer, we're going to unpack the cognitive and technological frameworks behind these everyday media experiences together.
Now, to make this super easy to follow, we're actually using a psychological trick right now called the segmenting principle. By mapping our journey up front, we're actively reducing your cognitive load. So our agenda covers 1. The new multimedia economy, 2. Designing for human minds, 3. Decoding the algorithm, 4. The psychology of flow, 5. Lab tests to the real world, and wrapping up with 6. Ethics in the AI era. All right, let's jump in. Starting off with Section 1, the new multimedia economy, and how it's fueling Thailand 4.0 and the BCG model. So we're transitioning into this era where digital media is actually a strategic national engine. Programs like Thailand 4.0 and the biocircular green economy rely heavily on immersive experiences to drive sustainable growth. And advanced multimedia today basically rests on 3 distinct pillars. First up is high interactivity. This is where your input actually changes the outcome, kind of like a branching narrative. Second is immersive presence, which creates this psychological sense of really belonging inside an environment using AR and VR. And third, this is a real game changer, generative intelligence. AI integration is shifting traditional creators into engineers who work with system prompts. Together, these 3 pillars are transforming us from passive, sit-back consumers into highly active co-creators. Moving right along to Section 2, designing for human minds. Specifically, the educational framework. This brings us to our first domain of this convergence, education. The absolutely crucial point here is Richard E. Mayer's cognitive theory of multimedia learning, or CTML. This fundamentally shifts how we approach media. The question is no longer, hey, how do I make this look cool? Instead, it's, how does this actually support the human brain? You see, our brains process visual and auditory information through very distinct channels, and both have strict limits. If you overload them, learning fails completely.
It really comes down to a delicate balance, extraneous load versus intrinsic load. Extraneous load is basically the brain power you waste on irrelevant stuff, like flashy decorative animations or, say, unnecessary background music. Intrinsic load, on the other hand, is the essential brain power needed to actually understand the complex subject you're looking at. A perfect real-world example of this is Khan Academy. By intentionally removing background music from their instructional videos, they completely eliminated that extraneous load. And the result? Measurable learning gains across more than 120 countries. Keep it simple, and the brain learns better.
All right, shifting gears to Section 3, decoding the algorithm. Let's talk about the business framework.
Welcome to the wild, fast-paced world of e-commerce. This right here is the AIDCKS model, which is basically an algorithm-driven upgrade to classic marketing theory. It shows how platforms systematically pull us from a fleeting moment to a loyal purchase. It starts with attention, that 3-second hook to stop your late-night doom scrolling. Then interest sustains you through a narrative. Desire builds emotional longing, maybe through an influencer's review. Conviction happens when immersive tech, like an AR product try-on, validates your choice. Action reduces all the friction with a simple one-click checkout. And finally, satisfaction builds a post-purchase community. These algorithms are literally engineered to pull us smoothly through these 6 stages, which honestly probably explains a few of those packages sitting on my porch right now.
But how exactly do algorithms know what you want? Well, we're currently in the middle of a massive platform reset, the shift from the social graph to the interest graph. The social graph shows you content based on who you follow. So if you have no followers, you have 0 reach. But the interest graph, which powers things like TikTok Shop's Shoppertainment, uses AI to predict what you will genuinely engage with completely regardless of your follower count. This is exactly why a brand new creator can literally go viral overnight if their content perfectly matches the algorithm's interest prediction.
Next up is Section 4, the psychology of flow. Time for the entertainment framework. Let's look at how we achieve the ultimate state of user engagement. This is psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's flow theory, basically the science of being in the zone. When a multimedia experience has clear goals, immediate feedback, and perfectly balances the challenge with your actual skill level, something incredible happens. We experience a merging of action and awareness, eliminating all outside distractions. We completely lose our self-consciousness, and best of all, we get a distorted sense of time. That is exactly why 3 hours in a great video game can feel like 20 minutes.
Now, we have to make a vital distinction here between immersion and flow. Immersion is just the technology, the shiny 4K VR headset, the spatial audio. But flow? Flow is the psychological condition of optimal attention. If an immersive VR game is boring or just too confusing, flow fails completely. A fascinating real-world example of this is Nation TV here in Thailand. They used AI-generated virtual news anchors specifically to maintain audience flow. By using AI instead of clunky traditional robots, they removed cognitive disruptions, allowing the audience to just consume the news in a seamless, optimal state.
Okay, Section 5. Lab tests to the real world. This is the TRL methodology. It's time for a reality check to see if all these brilliant theories can actually survive the real world. The crucial hurdle here is the leap between Technology Readiness Level 4 and TRL 5. TRL 4 is lab validation. It's safe. You test your prototype in a quiet computer lab with fast internet and tech-savvy friends. Everything is totally controlled. But TRL 5? That is the beta pilot. That is the real operational context with wild, uncontrolled variables. Think spotty Wi-Fi, noisy streets, and users who might accidentally close the app and have absolutely no idea how to reopen it. Making the leap from the safety of TRL 4 to the absolute chaos of TRL 5 is exactly where so many multimedia projects completely fail.
And finally, Section 6, Ethics in the AI Era, Generative Intelligence and Responsibility.
We absolutely have to address the elephant in the room. With great generative intelligence comes profound ethical responsibility. There are a few massive ethical dimensions we have to navigate together. First up is intellectual property. Pure AI generation without human creative authorship cannot be copyrighted. Human effort remains the legal core of creativity. Second is transparency. Using standards like C2PA watermarking to clearly authenticate if content is AI edited isn't just legally smart, it's a basic social responsibility. And third, algorithmic bias. This one is really critical. So much of the world's AI is trained heavily on Western-centric data. So if we're producing multimedia for Southeast Asian audiences, we have a professional duty to audit that AI output to ensure true cultural accuracy and representation.
Which brings us to exactly where we stand today in the convergence paradigm. It leaves us with a final, pretty powerful thought to ponder. Are AI tools replacing human creators, or are they simply elevating us to become the ethical architects of human cognition? As we move from passive consumers to active co-creators in this new economy, that is the ultimate question you have to answer for yourself. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.